3, all of a sudden, Phoenix turns into a crazy lady, and she's incinerating and disintegrating people, and it's just kind of like...
There's actually a political story for why what happened to X3 happened. You had Bryan Singer as the director and pretty much the creative direction on X1 and X2, and they were very well received, they were very popular. Even though they weren't perfectly true to the books, generally speaking, they were very highly regarded. Then, when the vice president at Fox, who was in charge of that movie franchise, thought comic books were stupid and didn't think making comic book movies was a good idea. He was just, I don't know, morally or psychologically against it. So he deliberately drug his feet and tried to stretch out the production process on X3 so long that Bryan Singer would give up, which he did, and he went and he directed Superman. And they got the guy who did Rush Hour to do X3. But that guy at Fox's whole agenda was to kill the X-Men franchise. When the actor who played Scott Summers took a role with Bryan Singer in the Spider-Man movie, the guy at Fox just wigged out and was like, all right, we're killing that character off. And that's why they killed Cyclops off. Because the guy at Fox just basically had a vendetta against comic book movies.
Right. Because Bryan Singer was like really cool creative rights on this, and no.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there was just a big fight between Singer and the guys at Fox, and the guys at Fox were the ones with the money, so they won, ultimately. And Singer went on to do Superman, which I think he did a good job as far as Superman movies go, but I think Superman is the most boring superhero in the face of the planet.
Amen.
Yeah. Yeah. They're actually rebooting Superman to be more like Batman Begins, because DC has finally realized that yes, you can do an Avengers-style movie. So they're rebooting Batman after this third Nolan movie. They're rebooting Superman. Green Lantern's part of the new continuity. They're doing a Flash movie, and they're trying to work Wonder Woman in so they can do a JLA movie.
They better do her right.
Yeah,
So only female superheroes made her own movie. They better do her right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that DC has hit the reset button at least 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah, yeah. They do.
With continuity, I'm not even talking about the difference between Golden Age and Silver Age. I'm talking about Millennium Crisis.
But yeah, all the Infinite Crisis nonsense.
Yeah, right. So they can go back to square one and revamp all the characters.
Yeah. You know they were going to do a Wonder Woman television series, but it got canned. Yeah. How cool is that going to be? I'm looking forward to that one.
But going back to Ryan Reynolds, like, I was scared when I first found out that he was going to be Green Lantern.
Not as scared as what the first movie was going to be.
I was like, what?
Do you know what the original concept was for the Green Lantern movie? It was going to be a slapstick comedy with Jack Black.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
Look what they did to the Green Hornet.
Yeah. Oh, the Green Hornet was terrible. What that?
That was a big old turn.
Oh, I agree. It was terrible.
But in that first trailer of Green Lantern, really did nothing for my confidence.
But the WonderCon footage.
But the WonderCon footage, and you heard him say the oath, and I was like, okay, you got a chance.
And then
chance, Mr. Reynolds. You got a chance.
They showed Oa. You see Sinestro and Kilowog and Coloray and all those other cats. That was cool.
I think it's
Well,
interesting.
I just think what hurts him is all the stupid movies he's done before this.
Yeah, everybody's got his pegged as Van Wilder and. You know,
But he was great as Van Wilder. He was hilarious. But he's not known for serious roles. So, I mean, even in Blade 3, he played a kind of goofball.
But I think they. Yeah.
He did, but he was perfect for Deadpool.
No, in Blade 3 he was playing the Deadpool character.
Yeah, you're right. No, well, yeah, kind of. Deadpool is a little more homicidal and crazy, as opposed to, zany crazy. Yeah, definitely. He was channeling a little Deadpool.
But I was reading an article, I think it was on IO9, but it was something about how if they do Green Lantern right, it could be like the next giant space opera. Because the way they set it up in the WonderCon trailer, it wasn't so much focused on him, it was, look at this world, look at all these creatures, look at all the different lanterns that we could introduce at any time and get any story.
Well, have you seen the news trailer? They straight up show you the Yellow Lantern Corps insignia.
Really?
Yeah, so
I haven't seen that one.
At some point, I don't know if Sinestro's going to go bad at the end of this movie, but you know they're going to leave it open for...
They're probably going into the War of Light with it being this close produced, I think, anyway. I know they're doing
I think they're going to do JLA first. Yeah.
They're doing that with an animated series. They already announced that Saint Walker and all of them are going to be featured in it.
Right.
So I feel like if they're doing it there, they may pull it into the movies.
I think they may wait and do that as an Avengers movie after they get the Avengers series, or not the Avengers, the JLA off the ground. But yeah, they're definitely tailoring Green Lantern to be a franchise. I'm sure this movie's going to do blockbusters at the theater, so they'll greenlight the sequel almost immediately. But
it looks good enough to merit a midnight watch. So.
Well, we might not be with Turbo anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if he can stay up that late.
We can see it twice.
Now, who's excited about Captain America?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That trailer. Oh.
The better trailer though, it's a parody trailer on YouTube. Look it up. It's Captain America Hell Yeah trailer, or
Nice.
F Yeah trailer. They did
The
America.
All Police?
Yeah, America. Yeah. They did that with the Captain America extended footage. Oh,
That's
it's
hilarious.
beautiful.
But
That makes you want to watch that movie more than anything I've ever seen.
Me and my friends were just talking about what if they put that song in the movie.
And I'm going to be offended if Stephen Colbert doesn't at least have a cameo somewhere.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. But no, is it sad that I didn't recognize, what's his name? Scott Evans?
Yeah, Scott Evans.
I didn't recognize him as the Human
Cap?
Torch. I was like,
Yeah, he was the
Whoa.
Human Torch. He was Jameson in The Losers, and he did a couple other roles recently that were real, sort of sleeper roles. But yeah, every time I watch The Losers, I'm like, oh my God, it's Captain America.
and I love like the weird perspective stuff that they've done with it, where they make him look all shrimpy and like weak. And
Yeah.
then he gets out of the thing and he's like, how do you feel? Tall.
Yeah.
That was brilliant filmmaking.
That's pretty awesome.
Because it doesn't look fake. You know, they did,
Well, they did a digital face swap on a younger actor. I'm pretty sure that's how they did that. So it's still his face, but it's not his body for those early scenes.
Right.
But yeah, he bulked up pretty hardcore for the movie. He was definitely going for that buff look.
See, that's one thing that makes me a little mad about the casting on that is I'm like, but he's the Human Torch. He's already in the Marvel universe.
They're rebooting Fantastic Four.
Oh, yeah, then never mind.
Yeah, those movies. I think Marvel wants to
Jessica
wrap those
Alba with the
up.
crazy blue eye contacts that were scary.
The first one was okay, but the second one was kind of a disappointment.
The second one was just a joke.
But and that killed me because it had the Silver Surfer.
I know.
And I was like, Norman Rad, come on, no.
And
why did you ruin it?
like the first 5 minutes of that movie, it's going to be bad. When they walk up to the new Fantastic car, and he's like, "Is that a Chevy? It's got a heavy in it." Really.
And Galactus was a cloud.
And Galactus with a cloud, yeah.
But what?
Well, Parallax is going to be kind of a cloud too in Green Lantern, so.
But it's, from what I've seen of it, that's not acceptable. Because it's a cloud, but it like forms into the face and.
See, and that was the thing. Originally, from all the original trailers, I thought the villain was the crazy, creepy, dome-headed guy.
Yeah.
His name I could never remember. But he was a minor, he got minor telekinetic and psychic powers from when he touched Amensur.
Yeah.
And he could like shut down GL for a little bit, but he was basically a minor threat. When I realized that Parallax was the real monster in that movie got real exciting.
Yeah.
So, and when does that come out? July 1st?
June.
June 17th?
June
That's coming
17th.
close.
So a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That's
That's
there at midnight.
really exciting. I have to work at like 8 a.m., so midnight showings are hard for me, but GL may be worth it. I know Captain's worth it.
There's so many movies after this.
Yep. Then obviously X-Men First Class, which is what the panel was supposed to be about. I'm kind of excited about it. It's going to be neat to see how the school forms. I kind of like the casting they've got for Magneto and X.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially Magneto.
yeah.
Like what I've seen in the trailers and stuff, I'm like, okay, you're an Eric Wisher. I can see that.
I'm kind of curious to see how Kevin Bacon plays as Sebastian Shaw.
Yeah.
And I realized this earlier. I was talking to a friend of mine this morning about it, and because Kevin Bacon is now acting with all these young actors in this movie, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon is a whole new generation.
You also got the best name in the world.
Making such an order.
Yeah. Bacon.
Who was he in Narnia?
He was the friend of Lucy.
Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
Kevin
He
Bacon
was
was Mr.
Mr.
Thompson.
Thompson.
Oh.
He can now get into, Kevin Bacon can get into
Like
Narnia
6 degrees
through
to Narnia.
Xavier.
Ah.
Mr. Thomas, Narnia.
That's right. He was also in that really ridiculous movie Wanted.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
See, that movie, it had so much potential to be cool, and then they revealed that, oh, we get our assassination assignments by counting threads from this mystical loom built by this guy back in the 1600s who coded it to program in binary ASCII. Like, what? My head hurt when they explained how the loom worked. I'm like, so let me get this right. You're interpreting the over-under threading as ones and zeros, and you're converting that into ASCII, and that's giving you the name of the person you're going to kill. There's so many things wrong with that, I can't even begin to count them. And that alone is the only reason I didn't like that movie. Everything else was fun, it was cool. But that
That's
was...
why you shut off your brain and watch.
Yeah, I had to do that for a couple of years. I went and saw Priest, and I went and saw Pirates 4. And
How was Pirates?
It has some fairly substantial problems.
Looks kind of jaded.
It's a good matinee movie. It's a good shut off your brain and go and watch Jack be silly movie. Don't go in there and expect the first movie, because it's not. They've got this really ridiculous missionary character who desperately wants to be Will, from the first movie, and fails horribly. Jack kind of phones in his role in this movie. It doesn't feel like Jack Sparrow. It feels like Johnny Depp pretending to be Jack Sparrow. When you watch the movie, you can very clearly see that he's acting. He's not being the character like he was in the first couple. And that was sort of a disappointment. But if you just want to go and have a little fun and watch some pirate shenanigans, it's a good matinee movie. But don't kill yourself to go see it. If you're gonna limit what movies you see, I'd save your money and go see Green Lantern or Harry Potter or Captain America.
Wait for the DVD.
Definitely not as part 2.
Wait for the DVD.
Yeah. And they have shown in clips Molly and Bella.
Yeah!
It's there. Yes, the line better be there.
That line is better be
Oh, if it's not, I will walk out.
There will be prizes.
Yeah.
Either that or I'll scream it myself. I don't care.
Yeah.
It has to be there.
That line's got to be there. But if you look at that movie, the only things that are left, there's the bank job, the assault on Hogwarts, and the fight between Harry and Voldemort.
And I'm sorry, they don't do Snape's best
Yeah.
as good as the book did. I'm gonna try.
They're changing it.
I know they're moving it.
Which death scene?
But
Snape.
Oh, yeah.
Because he is my all-time favorite.
I hope this never be as disappointing as the sixth movie was. The sixth movie sucked.
Yeah.
Oh, the
It's
series
the third one.
The third one was the worst.
Yeah.
It was absolutely.
See, I thought the third one was better, but also there was no real story in the third one to begin with anyway.
Well,
I thought
Well, in the
Order,
book there was.
I thought Order of the Phoenix was my least favorite movie because
Yeah.
they had to cut so much out.
yeah.
You know?
And
I found most
said
of
that they cut out
Phoenix
bits
Born.
and chapters of Grimmauld Place, but
Yeah.
But
they should have done
to me,
some.
it was-
I mean, they
It was
lost
better
so
than all
much
the
stuff,
crap they
like
just
the
threw in
bit.
there.
Yeah, and
Like-
then you get into number 7, number 1. Oh, by the way, hi, I'm Bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is my life, by the way.
Yeah. Also the mirror. The mirror in 7-1. They
Yeah.
never showed that in any of the previous movies, but it's really important.
And it's for the people who, lost interest in the book and
And they
still
don't
want to see
even
the
show
movies
how it
right
got
now.
broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know someone that thinks they know everything about the movies. I don't know about the series because they saw the movies. I'm like, no, read the freaking book.
Yeah.
But I loved 7 Part 1. I really did. It was so close to the books, and it had all of these touches. But I may be alone in this, but all the Harry Hermione sexual tension
That was ridiculous.
disgusting to me.
You
I
talking
was
about the dance
so-
scene?
Yes,
I
they
don't-
were naked and groping.
Oh,
and-
that.
Oh.
Well, that was fairly true though, because Voldemort was playing off of
I know,
raw
but
fear.
still, it was just like,
That was kind of hard to take.
Why?
But the dancing was kind of gross.
The dancing wasn't a sexual thing. That was Harry just trying his best to cheer up Hermione, who needed
But
it.
there
And
was
I understand-
that
Kiss
kiss
that
point.
didn't need to be there.
Yeah,
I
I see.
understand that you kind of wanted to dissolve that immediately so that moviegoers, because we've had 6.5 books, to go, okay, they're never going to be anything more than best friends. But the movies, you have that awkward kind of dance scene where, okay, now we're just friends and, looping and
And the
but
movies
at the same time,
don't really play up as much the Harry and Ginny aspect. It's
Yeah.
not
It's
nearly as
just-
obvious in the movies as it is in
it's
the
just kind of
books.
like, oh, the sixth movie. Hi, you're Jenny. It's like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
The book had such a better scene for the Harry Ginny kiss.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, they've won the Quidditch Cup and all that crap, and they run and it's kiss, and then he looks over at Ron and
Well, the thing that got me is in the 7th book, you know, the whole, going back to Grimmauld Place, that was the best friend moment between Harry and Hermione, and it didn't weigh up in the movie.
Yeah.
They should have focused on that instead of the stupid dance scene, you know?
in the Harry Potter panel.
Like that.
Well, we can take it back to comics if you want. Who's excited about the next Batman movie?
Oh,
yeah! Have you guys heard the cast of villains
Anne
and heroes?
Hathaway as Catwoman. I'm marginally frightened, but she's in leather, so I'm okay.
Okay, so here's the setup for the next Batman movie. It starts off, as near as I can tell, it's going to have Batman doing his thing in Gotham. The police still hate him because most of the police except Gordon think that he's a killer. Catwoman shows up and does her Catwoman thing, and Bruce and Selina, you know, do their thing. So it's Batman chasing Catwoman, Catwoman escaping. Meanwhile, Talia al Ghul is getting the League of Shadows back together, and she hires Bane to get Batman out of the way. So Bane shows up in Gotham, and then Talia and the League of Shadows show up behind Bane. And Catwoman and Batman join forces to take out Bane, Talia, and the Shadows. That's going to be a good movie.
I'm excited about it.
Even if it were terrible, it couldn't be any worse than Batman and Robin.
Yeah, or that ridiculous fourth one. No, that was the fourth one.
Yeah, that was the fourth one.
Yeah, the fourth one. The one with Poison Ivy and Bane. And
Yeah, Batman credit card or
But
whatever.
honestly, I hate seeing Batman without Robin. It's Batman and Robin.
I haven't seen that one. There's actually one of the best.
You know, there's
the
guy who was going to do the X-Men panel canceled, so we decided to remake this into a Let's Dish on comic book movies
You know,
panel.
that's what, yeah, the
He's
Batman Robin.
gotten really good for those.
You want to help, Jordan? You're a comic book fan.
Yeah, he's kind of
Does he have a bat symbol carved into his back?
I don't know.
Yeah, you got to sit up in the big boy chairs.
Yeah.
This is nice. Security gets to finally have a say a word.
That's right. We were just beginning to talk about
A
that.
word other than badges. I'm sick of saying the word
You
badges.
see his badge.
We don't need those stinking badges.
I'm sick of that joke too.
Yeah, I bet you are. All right, so like I said earlier, Nolan said this is going to be the last Batman movie he does, and then they're rebooting the franchise again to get ready for JLA.
Yeah.
But that's because Nolan has done a very, very good job of keeping all the supernatural, mystical, magical stuff out of his movies, and you can't have the Nolan Batman universe and then have Green Lantern and Superman show up.
But Christian
I don't know, honestly, like, I can see, like, the Nolan films, especially with Bane being introduced, I can see it ending with Bane breaking Batman's back and killing him, or somehow somebody really important dies, and it's very final. You are not getting any more of this. Sorry, Vandal.
I don't think that'll happen.
Yeah, Nolan's not the type to just do something like that for the sake of
He's
doing
not
it.
Joss Whedon?
Nolan.
Screw you, Wash.
Nolan tends to write stories.
Shut up about Wash. That was a traumatic moment in my life.
I cry. Spoilers.
Oh, you stop.
But yeah, Nolan tends to write stories that he thinks have a good meaning and a good following, and that's what he cares about.
Yeah.
I don't think he would just do something just for the sake of, well, this is my last Batman, I'm gonna do something kitschy or gimmicky just so everyone can remember it as my final Batman.
I have the Bane image pulled up, by the way.
Oh, what Bane looks like?
Yeah.
Let's see that. I haven't seen what Bane looks like in the new movie yet.
It's
Yeah,
kind of
I was like,
give me a
let's
little
do
bit
this.
of
Smartphone powers, go.
Y'all covered Thor already, right?
No, we haven't talked about Thor
We
yet.
talked about Thor. That was
Oh god.
I saw that last week.
It was fun. I liked Thor. Who here has seen the new Thor movie?
Keep your hands up if you
Anyone
like.
else?
Who here is going to be offended if we throw out some spoilers for the Thor movie?
Nope.
No.
Okay. You know, I want to see it. I've just been bored.
Hey,
I've just been bored.
hey.
I know. I need a second. I just been bored.
It's like Captain America.
I was forced to watch the secret ending because a friend of mine went to it and he was like, "You understand comic books? What is this?" And I was like,
Cosmic Cube.
Yeah, I saw
I was like,
the.
thanks.
I saw the.
For ruining the entire
Oh,
ending.
there's something after the credits. Oh no! Sean was like, "No, there's nothing after the credits. I promise."
You know that the Cosmic Cube is in the Captain America movie, right?
Go ahead.
Yeah. The Cosmic Cube that showed up in the Thor and the little post-credit scene. That's like the main objective of Hugo Weaving's character in Captain America.
It's the Red Skull one.
So
Yeah.
that's how it's tied Captain America to
Hugo Weaving as Red Skull is going to be the highlight of
That
this
is
summer.
ridiculously good.
Yeah.
I was like, the casting for Captain America was just so impressive to me.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
It's not the first time he played this big of a villain. Yeah, wait, let me
Who
see.
here liked Edward Norton as the Hulk? Come on. Edward Norton, he was a great Hulk.
He was good.
I'm coming around to it.
But we're not getting him back for Avengers.
And he said it was a new.
That's exciting.
Wait, here's
He was at Comic Con. He's so
the new because he's not coming back.
That's
Wow.
Yeah, it was a new actor. I haven't seen him.
They're not making a new Hulk.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was
That
cool.
was the best.
Now-
And Hopkins
Did you guys see the Secret Avenger cameo in Thor?
Yeah.
No.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, when Thor is busted
He
in.
has Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
Oh, let's see it. Show this guy.
Is that the one where it has a
I don't think
think
it has her
so.
holding up a Gotham City
rendering.
thing, and she's like slumped in a like a.
Oh, I've seen that picture. I've seen that before. Yeah.
Share over here.
Yeah.
Share over here.
Anyone else
Yeah,
see it?
we do.
But
If it's a fake, it's a good one.
Ooh, actually, what is it? That's pretty cool.
I like the one where it's just a reflection. That is
She's not in like her mask or anything longer.
Wow.
The evil princess.
I don't think it's official, but that's a photo.
I was about to say, that's a fake, that's a good one.
they're talking about it, but they've talked about a lot of movies.
What?
Ant-Man.
Yeah, it's in 2014 that they're supposed to do it, but from what I've heard, it's animated. That they're not going to do a live action Ant-Man.
I kind of like their animated movies though. Like
Yeah.
the DC animated movies are better than the Marvel animated movies.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange was amazing. The
I
Doctor
didn't see the Doctor Strange.
It was
Doctor
alright.
Strange
It was-
animated
yeah.
one was amazing.
The Hulk versus Wolverine.
I've heard that one was really
Oh, it was
good.
great because it's not just Hulk versus Wolverine, right? It starts off with Hulk. Hulk has terrorized his town in Canada. So if they're in Canada, who do they call to chase him down? They call him Wolverine. Wolverine, voiced by Steve Blum, by the way, guy who played Spike in Cowboy Bebop. Wolverine shows up, tracks him down. He gets to the Hulk. Hulk beats the crap out of him, and as they're going at it, Deadpool, Omega Red, Sabretooth, and Lady Deathstrike show up and capture both of them.
Wow.
Deadpool shoots Wolverine and says, "Ha ha! I shot you!" And he goes black, and he wakes up in the Weapon X labs. And it's those four who want nothing more than to kill Wolverine. And the scientists who made Wolverine, they're all there. They're trying to reprogram Wolverine while they also try and program the Hulk and make him part of Weapon X. So the rest of the movie, Wolverine has to rescue the Hulk, and then they terrorize those other four and blow up the compound. And Deadpool in that movie is classic.
All I remember is the part where Deadpool's arm like falls apart and he's trying to stick it back together.
Yeah, at one point Wolverine takes his claws out and just takes off Deadpool's arm right above the elbow. And because he's got 3 claws, it cuts here, cuts a little stake out of his arm like that, and cuts the rest of it. So Deadpool's like, ha ha! Oh, you cut my arm clean off. Give me a hand? Like, never mind, I go get it. So he goes over, he picks up his arm, he takes the first piece, he's like, no, that's not right. Damn it, now it's on backwards. And he finally gets his arm put back together and joins the fight. But it's just great, because that version of Deadpool, right out of the comic books, right? It's a classic, silly, very slapstick, insane.
The not X-Men one.
Right, not the X-Men. Speaking of Deadpool and breaking the fourth wall, did you guys see him in Marvel vs. Capcom 3?
Yes.
And his ultimate
his
thing where
ultimate
he
thing.
takes the HP bar and smacks you in the face with
it's
it.
brilliant.
That was so awesome. You pushed the wrong button. So great.
Oh, I so want Ryan Reynolds to make that movie, and Ryan Reynolds wants to do it.
I honestly think he would be a great merc with a mouth if they let him have a mouth.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the secret ending in Wolverine where he got his mouth back?
Yeah.
There were two endings. There were two endings in the Wolverine. One of them shows Logan in a bar in Japan, and the bartender says, "What are you drinking to forget?" He's like, "No, I'm drinking to remember."
Yeah.
Does that make sense? But the other one shows the rubble from 3 Mile Island, and you see Deadpool's body and his hand, and he does like that thing move from like the Bruce Campbell move, where his possessed hand is walking over, and it touches his head, and the threads that had been sealing his mouth shut had all broken, and he touches his head, and his eyes open up, and he goes, "Shh," and then it cuts to black.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is, like, they gave him his mouth back, but he didn't say anything. I don't think if they do a Deadpool movie, they're going to pick it up from there, because that character is just dumb.
I think they just have to reboot it all together, because I mean, that Deadpool has blades coming out of his arms, and he's got Cyclops' optic blast.
And he
what else can you do?
He can do race teleport and all that.
Yeah, it's just like,
But the problem that Fox has right now is that Hugh Jackman is such a spectacular Wolverine, they can't reboot the series until he's done with it.
Yeah.
But didn't you say he was done because he's tired of being,
No, he loves that movie.
He's pushing hard for Wolverine 2.
Plus
Wolverine 2 is in production, but they switched directors.
Now it's called The Wolverine, and it's going to happen in Japan.
Well, I mean, that was one of the story arcs.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's going to be, he meets Oriko, and, he falls in love with her, and then she dies, and then she comes back as Lady Deathstrike, and
But, well, I mean, like, they can't reboot the Wolverine series until Fox loses their contract.
Well, I mean, Fox can choose to reboot it themselves, but they don't want to reboot it until Hugh Jackman is gone, because everybody who watches anything with Hugh Jackman or Wolverine and loves him is Hugh Jackman.
They can't tie it into the Avengers or anything.
No, they're not going to, because they're different studios. Same thing with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
In fact,
Spider-Man out of the Avengers. I will cry.
well, Joss Whedon has talked about that, and the guys at which studio has Avengers? Is it?
That's NBC, I think, maybe some branch of NBC.
Well, the studio that has Avengers, they were talking about.
Sorry, I couldn't think of who on NBC.
All the Marvel universes are connected, and Spider-Man was one of the Avengers at one point. But they said that because Sony owns the Spider-Man contract, they'll probably never bring him in. And that's okay, because the Marvel universe is big enough that these different groups can coexist.
Yeah.
But there is, like, if one studio owned all 3 properties, X-Men, Avengers, and Spider-Man, there would be potential to cross between them. Joss Whedon said he's happy to do that.
But if Joss Whedon did it, somebody would die.
Yeah.
And I would be mad.
Yeah. I haven't heard much about the Avengers.
Come on, what?
There's
somebody can die in the Avengers. Like,
Yeah.
every time Joss Whedon touched something, I instantly fall in love with it, 1. And then 2, after I have fallen in love with it, it invested everything, he kills somebody that I hold so close, but is not necessarily integral to the entire story.
Yeah.
He's done it he did it in Firefly, he did it in X-Men when he had that astonishing run and he got rid of Kitty Pryde, when he brought back Colossus, so that was kind of a,
but people die in comic books all the time, they never stay dead.
Yeah.
Name somebody who died in a comic book and stayed dead.
First Blue Beetle.
Somebody important who died.
Oh, hey.
Al
Who?
Pratt.
I have no idea who that is.
See, he's not important.
I said somebody important. Superman died, came back. Captain America died, came back.
Right now in X-Men,
Batman died, came back.
Right now, Kurt's dead in X-Men.
Yeah.
There's no hope, pretty much, of bringing him back because all of their time people are out of order or dead.
There was no hope of bringing Batman back from the dead. Dude, like...
Honestly, that was a mistake on my part. And I know that you're probably going to hate me forever for that. But, if you kill Batman, leave him dead. Don't pull Bruce Wayne into this whole supernatural crazy nonsense. Okay? Let Nightwing be Batman and be done with it.
What do you think of this Batman Incorporated stuff?
Oh, I'm excited for that. That looks awesome.
I've read a couple of issues, and it's kind of neat because right now, from what I've seen, you've got 2 Batman. You've got Bruce, who's back as Batman, and you've got Dick as Batman. And their costumes are slightly different. Nightwing's Batman costume has a black bat, whereas Bruce's has the yellow bat in a circular logo on his chest. That's the main difference, and they got different utility belts and stuff. But so far, it's kind of neat. But Bruce's character has become a lot more compassionate, which is really strange. I just read an issue, one of the new Birds of Prey strips, after Batman has officially come back, and he shows up to help Barbara Gordon fight off a bunch of muggers. She was basically out looking to pick a fight. But Batman shows up and helps her, beat the crap out of all these guys anyway. And Barbara looks up at him and says, "Are you going to tell me that I shouldn't be out here? This is a bad idea, and I should be ashamed of myself?" He's like, "No, I thought I'd give you a hug." It's really weird moment for Batman. Yeah.
Batman hugs.
Batman hugs.
Real
That's like in the movies. That's like in the Batman movies. George Clooney broke rule number 1. Batman does not smile. I was like, no, George Clooney. As Bruce Wayne, he can smile,
See, that's the
do
thing.
whatever he wants as Bruce Wayne.
Michael Keaton, I thought, did a good job as both Bruce Wayne and Batman. He wasn't stellar, but he was good as both.
Yeah.
George Clooney did a great Bruce Wayne, terrible Batman. Val Kilmer, terrible Bruce Wayne, great Batman. But I think Christian Bale does a good job as both.
The only issue that I have with Christian Bale's Batman is that he insists on talking like this.
I hate that.
And it's like, Batman is not a demon, okay? That kind of bothers me a little bit.
In the Terminator, when you run the Batman voice of the Terminator?
Yeah.
Notice that?
It's just kind of like, Batman doesn't need to talk like this.
He raced to his children like that at night too.
You guys think that Heath Ledger is the Joker? Was that not fantastic?
Okay.
It was
You
cool until he
know a
died.
role is good
Yeah.
when he kills you. Not to Heath Ledger, he's an amazing actor, but that's the truth.
I know that
role killed him.
I know that it would never work, but I kind of wish
I
that
think
they.
the drugs have
Yeah.
It's just like with the, when you watch Tropic Thunder, you never go fully into character.
Difficult fool. I kind of wish.
Yeah, the reason he was on all those drugs was he was having nightmares because he was entering into psychosis.
Well, that was most of it. Some of it, like his girlfriend was giving him Oxycontin, which he didn't have a prescription for. So he was mixing drugs, but it wasn't an intentional overdose. He didn't suicide. It was just a drug overdose.
It's still,
I don't think anyone
still,
that's a crying shame.
It is.
He's a wonderful actor.
Yeah, and they want Paul Bettany to take over the role, but Nolan's not going to do a Batman movie, so it won't matter.
He shouldn't let anyone take over the role of the Joker, though. No one's going to accept it.
No, just say he's in jail and be done with it.
No one's going to accept another
He's in
Joker.
Arkham, it's over.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the only thing I kind of wish they put the Joker at the end of the series, but I guess they can't now because Heath is dead and all.
Still, though, in my mind, and you guys can make fun of me for being old school for this, but the only, my favorite Joker is still Mark Hamill.
Okay, is it sad that I was very upset when I got the Game Informer about Arkham City, and I was like, oh, this is amazing, and I'm reading through it, and the last paragraph was, oh, BT Dub, this is Mark Hamill's last time ever as playing the Joker.
No!
And apparently, he let me know.
I just read that Arlene Sorkin is not reprising her role as Harley Quinn.
Oh, that's sad.
Harley Quinn in City?
She played it in Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, but she's not doing it in the city.
Mr. J, that's just, it's perfect.
Well, Arkham City is now in Arkham Asylum. Fantastic.
Was the best comic book game I think
I never had a chance to
You
play
never
it.
played
It's
Arkham Asylum.
great.
You need to go home and play. You need to go home, buy a copy, and play it.
See,
It's
I
one of the
guess-
greatest
yeah,
games
that's
of all
kinda
time,
lame,
right?
like, oh, I
Superhero.
never put the ODR,
But it's super cheap right now. Get it, you can get GameStop for like $15.
Get it on Steam for 30, you know?
Yeah.
Best Buy. As soon as I get paid, I'm gonna go pick up a Best Buy.
How we doing on time? Okay.
But I think that as far as animated Jokers go, whoever did the newest one, guy who voiced Bender, I can't remember his name right now.
You talking about Under the Red Hood?
Oh.
Yeah,
Red
Under the Red
Wait,
Hood.
that was Bender?
Yeah,
he did the voice of
Oh,
Bender.
that's okay.
He actually did
Exactly.
He did a great
It makes
job
sense
as
now,
Joker.
but
It makes sense now. I liked him, but it wasn't as good to me as Mark Hamill.
I know, but I mean, like, as
That's
far as
Mark Hamill,
it's
though.
better than the one they had in like the Batman, where it was just like.
This is Mark Hamill. This may have been that guy, but you'll never reach it.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
It's true. I really liked Under the Red Hood. I thought that was a
Yeah.
great.
I really want to see it. I
animated
still haven't seen it.
You've never
It's
seen
on
it?
Netflix, I know. I'm
You
gonna watch
need to check it out. It's awesome. I won't give you any spoilers for it, but they did a great job of showing Jason Todd getting beat to death by the Joker, and they didn't go to the Infinite Crisis nonsense of how they bring him back to life.
They just talked about it for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, they cover that in the first bit of the movie, but it's a fantastic recreation of that story, and the whole movie just plays really, really well. You got Batman, you got Neil Patrick Harris as Nightwing, yeah.
NPH.
He did
Yep.
an
You
amazing
got
job as Nightwing, I thought.
Black Skull or
Red
Black Mask. Black Mask is one of the main villains. Red Hood is in there. Joker's in there. And somebody who shall remain nameless with Lazarus Pits has a small cameo in the movie as well. But I think Under the Red Hood was my favorite animated Batman movie so far.
I don't know. I liked Mask of Phantasm. That was good.
Phantasm was alright, but I think Red Hood is my favorite.
Red Hood just had that grittiness that you need for
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt more like the Nolan movies instead of the old animated series movies, and that was the difference.
The harsh thing is like he's a huge Batman fan, but he's terrified to watch the Red Hood again. So it kind of sucks.
It's just scary. I mean, I don't want to say it's scary to
It's
someone.
intense.
It's very
young
intense.
kids.
It's dark. Very intense.
Yeah.
Very dark.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the Nolan movies. You know, I'm in there.
Watches them and loves them.
Well, no, I'm in there at midnight, and you know, they're 6-year-olds and stuff in there.
Dark
and
Knight was
they're
not a
freaking
kids movie.
out. And it's just like, why would you bring a child to
When
this?
Joker slams the dude's head on the pencil, he loves it. He can't watch the Red Hood. Like he can watch the Dark Knight, but not the animated one.
That is still one of my favorite Heath Ledger moments. Was I mean, like, this pencil
Remember
disappeared.
when Joker
Yeah.
takes the guy's head and
They have a
slams it on
magic
the pencil and
dragon.
makes
Or-
the pencil disappear?
Another thing that I absolutely love that a lot of people forget is when he has the mountain of money and that guy sitting on top of it and he sets it on fire and you never speak about the dude that's sitting on top of the mountain of burning money.
People are just concerned about like the $60 million thing burning.
But at the same time, you're just kind of like, oh god, oh god, oh god.
Alright guys, hand over. I know I'm not the official guy who's supposed to be doing it, but it was a fun conversation. I'll be floating around the con until about 2 or 3 in the morning. If you want to continue this conversation, please do so. In the meantime, have fun.